Let's see if I got it right this time, shall we? Welcome, everyone. It's Career Happy Hour. It's Andrew Beach. I'm an executive coach, a teacher of self-education, as they say. I think I had a mix-up there. I established the event. I didn't go to the events page, and I launched a live stream on the regular channel. So I just need to get better, better at doing this because this is the first time I've actually done this from the events page. So let me know how you feel about the experience. Is the event page a little bit better? It's something that I can actually establish in advance every week at 3 o'clock Pacific time. I can set it up in advance. And so we have an event page that will show up on LinkedIn, and you can attend through that. You can share it out to members of your network. You can send it in private messages and that sort of thing. So for those who don't know me, I'm Andrew Beach. I'm an executive coach. I call myself a teacher of self-education. I help sell people on themselves. I do that by helping professionals communicate their value to find great opportunity faster, whether you're working or not. That's through generally a pragmatic process of branding, planning, and effective networking to land the perfect job quickly. So that said, if you would please, this is Career Happy Hour. It happens every Friday, 3 o'clock Pacific time. If you could just let me know if you can hear me and see me, and that you're joining by this method. It's the first time I'm actually broadcasting. Let me go over to my profile from an events page. And so sometimes this will show up on my profile, sometimes it will not. And so this is I'm testing some things out. So I'm on my profile page now, and yeah, it looks like it's broadcasting there. So we're all good on that side. So you can either come to my profile page and watch from there, click on the background image, and it'll take you right to the stream. And looks like it's working now. And so it's nice that it's integrated. So if you can, go ahead and share this out with people in your network. I will also share the link to join live. So some of you may be wondering where this is. So if you have a chance, go ahead and click the link in the chat, and you can, or in the comments, and you can join live to our session here. So let me see this. We may have to go back to the old way because I don't know if many people are joining by the events page, even though it's still on my profile. And I don't know if you're getting the notifications. So if you could let me know in the comments that that's happening. So what are we talking about this week? Well, there's a number of things that have happened this week that I think are worth mentioning. And so I'm going to share some ideas, some thoughts about what's going on, at least that I see in the marketplace, and share some resources that I think might be helpful, both on LinkedIn and elsewhere. So we'll share some of the news. We'll talk about some resources. And I think the key learning for me this week is you never know when you're going to learn something that that is going to add value to your life. And I would always be open to learning something new. And to me, that means engaging in things like podcasts, reading books, taking advantage of maybe some videos on YouTube, but then also creating a set of boundaries on how much time you're spending in those spaces. So I had the good fortune of, I have the good fortune and had the good fortune this week of speaking with Yasser Khan. And I certainly can share his information if you want it. But he led me to a couple of resources that I wasn't aware of. So I want to share those with you so that you can have them. Let me go and share my screen. There it is. And then we can go over some of these and really get a better understanding of how they can help us. So for me, I love learning. I love taking in podcasts. I love reading blogs. I love watching videos. I'm addicted. Let me be clear. This is my admission event. I admit that I am addicted to learning. I'm addicted to learning. And that means that I'm constantly filling my brain with information. And I need to set some boundaries. So one of the ways I can do that is by using third-party tools that will do this for me. Now, Yasser had made me aware of this tool called Freedom. I had never heard of it before. You know, I've heard of these different plugins in Chrome and different things. But this one was really kind of interesting because it allowed me to not only do it on my desktop in my browser, but on my desktop computer and on my mobile device. Now, let's be clear, there is a paid, there is a fee for this service, but to me, it's worth the small fee per month because it's, I think it's unlimited seats or something like that. Anyway, I'm probably going to sign up for it. I might even see if they have an affiliate program, because this is a really valuable service for those of us that maybe spend too much time researching jobs or researching companies or going down the black hole in the ATS or the job boards. And, you know, we cruise into the afternoon not having spoken to anybody or had any networking conversations. I'm as guilty as the next person. I will be honest on that side. And so this tool, it loads into your computer, it loads into your mobile device, and you click a button and it turns off all of your distractions. And by all your distractions, I mean all your distractions. Anything that you know, and I can name it now. For me, it's, you know, probably YouTube and Facebook, occasionally Instagram, and to a certain extent, even though I'm broadcasting here on LinkedIn, to a certain extent, LinkedIn. And I don't want those things getting in the way of me serving people or serving myself, not in a bad way, but serving my goals. And so if you have goals or objectives or things you're trying to accomplish, one way to do that is by eliminating things that really aren't going to matter as much as you achieving your goals. And yes, gathering information is valuable to me. I just need to budget those times. I need to set up boundaries, and I need to use tools. Me personally, I need to use tools like Freedom to do that. Now, I will put that also in the chat here. It's freedom.to. I haven't seen that one before. Freedom.to is the website. So I would go there. I would test it out. They have a free trial. I've taken advantage of that. I'm likely to get the paid version. The next resource that Yasser made me aware of that I wasn't aware of before is this idea of a newsfeed eradicator. So let's say I'm still distracted by LinkedIn. I can still go to that site, but instead of showing me the feed, it shows me a quote. So I can still use the tool, but I can't get lost in the endless feed of content that's distracting me. And so let me give you an example. I will go ahead and I will go to youtube.com and I will show you what comes up when I go to youtube.com. Okay. And it's called the Newsfeed Eradicator. Okay. So now I don't get anything, but what I do get is I get a quote. If you don't risk anything, you risk even more. So it's a reminder to me not to go down the rabbit hole on this device, but to stop and go back to whatever it is I was doing. So even though Freedom might be extreme for me, and yes, I may have some time here where I could budget that and say, you know what, I'm going to spend a half hour on YouTube or whatever, then I can do that. I can say, allow this for whatever it is, 30 minutes. So I come back here, I just click on this and I say allow for 30 minutes. And that's how it works. And so this is called Newsfeed Eradicator. Well, let me see if I can get the link to the Google Store thing here. Let me see if I can get that. Is that it? Maybe this is it here. Yeah, there it is. I'll put this also in there. You'll see it. It's called Newsfeed Eradicator by Jordan West. You can see it has 200,000 plus users and it's got almost 5-star rating. That tipped me over the edge to pick this one over other productivity tools that didn't have as many or wasn't as updated. So I'll put that in the comments as well. Newsfeed Eradicator. Okay, so those are the two tools that I thought were really helpful to me, and I thank Yasser for sharing those two tools. So that said, I think it'd be helpful to me to know that you have actually made it to today's session. We kind of did something different. We broadcast first on our channel or on our LinkedIn profile and so forth. And then I had forgotten I had created an event and I needed to start in Restream from the event. So we might have a situation here where not many people join our thing. So the other side of what happened this week is for many places, and this may have been happening for you in your geography already, are back to school. And what we're finding is more people are getting into the universe. They're out doing things. They're out getting fresh air, if you will. And there's more people out. And to me, that means there's going to be some friction, some tension, and a lot of anxiety. And people are going to have to work through that dissonance before they get somewhere. So we need to approach maybe this hiring process and the interviews we're having, recognizing that everybody is experiencing a certain level of stress. And we need to be a little more conscious of how they're showing up, not just to an interview, but also yourself. How are you showing up to the interview, and that sort of thing. Also, maybe I forgot to mention this, but I do offer live coaching. So if you see in the description, wherever you're joining from, the link to join live, there is a green room back here. And so if you have a question and you want to ask it, but you don't feel comfortable doing that in a public environment, there is a private chat back here. I call it the green room. You can come into the green room. You can put in your private anonymous question, and I'll answer it anonymously. So unless you give me authorization when you come into the back end to put you on live, I'm not going to acknowledge that you're there. And so you can feel very safe that that's something I will do. While that's going on, if you feel that there's a question that you have that other people have, and you feel that it will offer some value to others to get the answer to that question, even if it doesn't, I suppose at least you would get some benefit out of that. I would put also your question in the chat, the comments, whatever platform you're joining from, whether that's LinkedIn, Periscope, which is now Twitter, Facebook, or YouTube. And then, of course, share this out with your networks. We get more people involved, the more value I can add to the network. And the idea here is, if we put our LinkedIn profiles in the chat box, what we're acknowledging to everybody is that we're open to networking with anyone that will reach out to us through this community. So, when you reach out to somebody and say, hey, you are on Andrew's Career Happy Hour, you said you put your LinkedIn in there, I would like to connect with you and have a conversation offline. And LinkedIn has made this very easy for us. We just do a LinkedIn message, or we can connect with somebody. There's a connect request process. And then they've also added, which I think is very exciting. And actually, this is the next thing I want to talk about here. And so I will share back my screen. But I think many months ago, you saw that LinkedIn has actually added the capacity to schedule a Zoom or to schedule a Microsoft Teams meeting directly from LinkedIn messaging. And they've actually expanded that. And now they're offering their own video meeting tool inside of the chat feature. So what does this mean? This means that people who live, breathe, and operate within LinkedIn don't ever have to leave the platform. And that's what they're trying to encourage, is people staying on the platform. So they've taken the Microsoft technology, which Microsoft owns LinkedIn, and they've integrated that into the LinkedIn messaging platform. And so that's called video meetings. And so it says here in this particular article, LinkedIn has launched native meeting functionality, meaning users can hold video meetings without leaving the business networking platform. Users can initiate a video call by clicking the camera icon in the top right corner of a messaging window with another LinkedIn member. Now, that's something you can do to do like a right now kind of meeting, or you can schedule one in the future. Okay, so the added feature is designed to boost productivity that can happen within the LinkedIn app or website. In a note on its engineering site, which I'll show you here in a second, from an initial job search to a one-on-one conversation, we wanted to drive productivity of our members end to end while keeping them safe. And this really positions LinkedIn, Microsoft, and their ecosystem even better in organizations to help them identify, deploy, and somehow corral their talent in a way that's effective and meaningful. And I find that really intriguing. Now members can easily schedule free video meetings in their network without downloading a client or signing up to a service. You get that? Without downloading a client or signing up to any service. LinkedIn first added video feature last year, but that was limited to Zoom and Teams. That we talked about that. And so let's see. The new video meetings are powered by technology from LinkedIn parent company Microsoft. No shock there. LinkedIn is also planning to phase in other well-known features that are present in video conferencing, like scheduling meetings and calendar integrations and so forth. It's just natural, right? Natural that they would have all of those things in the back end accessible for that. So, and then the other part, the other resource, and so this is a new tool, but the other resource, two resources I would encourage you to do, sign up for, is sign up for the LinkedIn blog. There is a LinkedIn blog, and a lot of the stuff I share with you, I get it from their blog. I'm not sharing anything like like I'm super up on things. It's because I have a system that, when there's a new post for the LinkedIn blog, I get a copy of that post. And so now I just realized that they have a blog for their engineering side now too. And I didn't know that until today, because I went looking for, because I was going to schedule, I clicked on that video icon because I was thinking about scheduling a meeting with one of the people in my network, instead of doing it on Zoom or Teams or Google Meet or some other tool that I already have in my toolkit. And then I realized that when I clicked on that camera icon, I saw a third option. Or no, I didn't see the two options I normally see. Normally you click that camera icon and you see the Zoom option for scheduling, and you see Microsoft Teams. And now it doesn't do that by default, which is rather interesting. It goes to the LinkedIn video meetings tool, and it allows you to schedule through that tool unless you say use other tool or assign another tool. I'll show you that interface in a second. But so two things. One, sign up for the blog, the LinkedIn blog, and then sign up for the LinkedIn engineering blog. And you'll get a lot of these same informational tools. And this is a little more techy. So if you're on the engineering side, then that's great. But it just was really interesting to see how they're developing this tool, how they're utilizing it, how they're putting, so one thing to recognize here, folks, is that LinkedIn is spending exponentially higher on mobile device than they are on desktop, because every single one of their new features, when you see it demonstrated or in some way, a tutorial or something done on, it's always done on a mobile device interface. So you can see here, I believe this is maybe an Android device. So let's assume that's Android. This is two screenshots from an Android device. And then the second one is two screenshots from an iOS device. And it isn't until you get to the very bottom that you see any mention or anything related to a desktop interface. Although this still looks like a mobile device. Okay, so so I take that back. There isn't any reference to the desktop experience. It's all mobile. So if you have not yet downloaded the mobile app for LinkedIn, you're doing yourself a disservice. I would really get in there and start looking at some of the features, the benefits, the tools that are only available on mobile. And there's lots of them. So if you've never downloaded that and kind of played around with it, I really highly recommend you do that, because this is where LinkedIn is investing their time, energy, and their money making solutions. Good. So that's that one. I think that does it for the resources that way, in terms of the technology and the tools that you can use as a practitioner, right, of some of these things, and using these things. I think it's important that I stay up to date on what they offer the candidates that I coach. And this is a tool that's going to offer you some value. I had talked before about using your mobile device to send, video messages, right? You can send, and you don't get that. You don't get that on the desktop version of LinkedIn. You can't click a camera and hold it up to your face and send a video message by that tool. So that's what I'm suggesting, is that you download the mobile app, use it. You can send video messages. You can do QR codes there for people to get your information. You can do find nearby, right? So if you have the closed field communication, you can find people next to you at a group event. You can all turn on that feature, and you can all connect with each other. It's fantastic. And then you also get to record that showcase video, right? You get to record a video that when people come to your profile, the profile picture has an orange ring around it. I mean, there's a lot of features only accessible from the mobile device, period. End of discussion. And I have yet to do, interestingly enough, I have yet to do a one of those showcase videos. So I should probably do one of those intros and put it up there. I want to do it on my mobile device in, what do they call it? Clips. Yeah, Apple, I think it's Apple Clips or something like that. anyway, that has some overlays on it. So I think that would be kind of neat. Any questions out there, certainly put them in the comments. Hopefully everybody has found this stream. I have a couple other things I want to share with you that I found that were rather interesting resources, and I'll show you a demonstration of the LinkedIn video messaging tool. But for the meantime, if you would please share your questions. If you have any, put them in the comments section, and I'll be happy to answer. So one of the other tools, one of the other influencers that I tend to follow and appreciate getting information from is, of course, Josh Bersin. He used to have his own company, sold his company to Deloitte, and he started another company. So he's had a good track record of building profitable organizations. And there was something in there that I thought was rather interesting that he talked about. And that was called the stay interview. So let's see, what is this really about? So I got this in an email from the Josh Bersin Academy. Now, if you don't know, he's created a competency academy, something like that, with all of his teachings and trainings and so forth that you can use. I believe it's kind of like LinkedIn Learning that way. He has his own learning management system, etc. But here's what it says. It says the long view, the most managers understand the value of regular one-on-one meetings. Who doesn't, right? You want to meet with your people, make sure they're supported, get the tools and resources they need to be successful on the job. But many neglect one powerful tool at their disposal, the stay interview. With unprecedented numbers of employees leaving their jobs, in the US, for example, a record number of employees quit their jobs for the 4th month in a row. This tool can be useful for giving managers early warnings about employee dissatisfaction or other problematic work issues. How simple is it that just having a conversation about someone's career, separate from the day-to-day, is going to offer them a reason, or at least a little motivation to stay? So here's what it says. Stay interviews are fairly simple, a structured dialogue leaders can use to better understand which factors make their employees more likely to stay in their role. Yet a few best practices can make these dialogues much more effective. First, stay interviews should be kept separate from other meetings. That makes sense. You want it to have them, you want the employee to be the center of the conversation. So don't make that part of the day-to-day or their performance eval, which can have a plus and a minus on it. Make it separate. Second, these conversations should be organic. This means that while employees should understand the meeting's purpose well in advance, they shouldn't receive a list of questions beforehand or have a rigid agenda or anything like that, a veiled thing that's going to be put into your performance eval. None of that. Finally, managers should take an active listening role. I mean, that's actually the number one leadership principle that many people ought to have, that idea of seek first to understand, the 7 habits of highly effective people, right? Be proactive, begin with the end in mind. And then it's put first things first, think win-win, seek first to understand, right? These things, these leadership principles are universal. And it's not just something you do because, Josh Bersin wrote an article and I said you should do it. It's something that, if you're a leader, then you should always be actively listening. The interview part of the stay interview is key. Employees should lead the conversations. Employees should lead the conversations. You should facilitate that leadership, with managers providing any necessary guidance or clarification. Done well, these conversations will increase employees' feelings of being valued and heard, and leaders' ability to foster retention and employee satisfaction. Isn't that what we want? Don't we want people satisfied to stay, to be valued, and to go home without a lot of angst and anxiety at the end of the day? Although I guess we're all at home, so it could be that the angst and anxiety is something you're unaware of. And certainly during this pandemic, one of the things I've always highly recommended is that as a leader, you don't need less communication. You need more and higher quality communication. So don't think that everybody is okay just because they said so. And so this is a resource. You can go to joshbersin.com or bersinacademy.com and sign up for this newsletter. I think it's highly valuable. I read it. I think it comes out weekly or maybe more than that. And then he also has a podcast, of course. So I listen to that podcast. Highly recommend connecting with that tool that's available to you. All right. Good. Looks like people finally found it. Okay. I've shared your link for today. Thank you, Amy. I appreciate that. I just tried this out. It's new. It's the opportunity through Restream to schedule an event rather than whatever. And so I went over and I started my Restream as I did every week. And I forgot, I'm supposed to do it from the event page. And so I went back and corrected that. And so now what I'm going to do is maybe I need to create a list of people that have attended in the past and make sure that, hey, you know what, that they are invited every week. I wish it was easier to do a recurring event. And maybe that is something that LinkedIn will add to the functionality at some point. But I'm hoping maybe that I can copy the one I did before and it just brings in the same invitees and that sort of thing. If not, we'll see what happens. But thank you for coming. Amy, did you have any questions? Go ahead and put those in the chat or the comments page here, and I'll do my best to answer whatever it is you're trying to accomplish. Happy to answer. And of course, put your LinkedIn profile in the chat, folks, if you want to be connected with other members of this network that way. And there is a live link to come in the back room. If you don't want to put a public question out there, you can click the link in the description or which I don't know if it's in the, let me see if it's in the events page because it may not be. I've just put a really brief description in there of how people can get a hold of us or get into the live meeting room. Let me get over there. This is all, I mean, honestly, this is all new to me as well. Oh, and I did promise that I was going to demonstrate the, yeah, it's not in here. Yeah, I don't know how to, oh, okay. So I need to edit the powered by Restream. Okay. Yeah, I see what it did there. All right, perfect. So I don't know if I have any other questions or comments or suggestions to share. I mean, I can certainly save. Let me see here. Let me get back to the home page here. Okay, there we go. So I'm going to, let me make this a little bigger. We'll look at a little LinkedIn news and then we'll call it a day. I'll do that demonstration on the video tool. We'll do it. We'll look just real quick at the LinkedIn news and then we'll call it a weekend. So here's Yasser. Yasser is the one I got those two resources from, the Freedom app, freedom.to, and also the, what is that called? I've already forgotten the name of it. The newsfeed Eradicator. So when I come to the messages with Yasser, you can see here I have a number of options. I can put up an image. I can add an attachment. I can even do a GIF or an emoji. I get 3 dots here, right? I can click send or whatever. I get some lazy text. And then up here at the top, you'll see 3 dots. I can create a group chat. There's a bunch of other settings. But then there's this little camera, okay? Does everybody see this little camera? It's just right here, right across from Yasser's name. So when I click on that, I see something very interesting. And it didn't used to be this way. I think this just happened in the last week. I used to see an option for LinkedIn, excuse me, not LinkedIn. I see an option for Microsoft Teams, or I see an option for Zoom. And so I can now either do an instant meeting or I can schedule a meeting for later. And it says here, you're using LinkedIn video meetings. Select a different provider. So if I want to go with Microsoft Teams or Zoom, I can do that. I just need to take an extra step. So it says here, create a video meeting. And LinkedIn, of course, puts their solution first. No shocker. And then they put Microsoft solution second because you know what? Microsoft owns LinkedIn. And then they put Zoom's option last. Okay. So if I want Zoom, I can do that. And then I can schedule a meeting. And then it puts that information, that integration data into the chat box. So I can actually schedule a meeting for later. I'll just use what they have here and then create. And the nice thing is it shows up right here. It grabs all that information for me and puts it right here in the chat, and I can click send. Make sense to everybody? So that's the Zoom one. Let's go ahead and delete that. And we don't want to do that. We want to do schedule a meeting later. Oh, actually, excuse me, go back. Use a different provider and go with LinkedIn and schedule a meeting for later, and then click send. Okay. Well, that's interesting. Did it send it? Oh, there it is. Okay. So here's the thing. There's the video meeting. Maybe I'll go ahead and delete that. But here's the thing is now I have a meeting in there. I can click join this meeting and it'll launch the app. I don't have to download anything. It's right here inside the messaging feature. Okay. Good. So I'll go ahead and delete that. Yes, delete. There we go. Okay. So now Yasser's not going to come on a meeting with me as we're doing a live stream. And so it's very easy. Wherever you go to get the messaging, look for that little camera icon, and you don't have to go to your calendar. You don't have to go to the Zoom. You don't have to do any of that. You can do it right here inside of LinkedIn if that's where you've initiated these contacts. And so the other thing is LinkedIn news. So I'm going to scan some of this news and see if there's something we can take away and apply in our searches for professional excellence. Let's see. Remembering 9/11. Oh, that's tomorrow. Judge loosened Apple's grip. I wear my Facebook tight. Texas wins in California exodus. That's interesting. There has been some emigration this year with the pandemic. People are going to different places and finding other arrangements. A lot of people come to Portland for that same reason. And so Texas wins California exodus. Let's see what it says. Thank you, Kelly Nguyen. California companies are relocating their headquarters to Texas at more than 4 times the rate of any other state. According to a study by Stanford, a California university, Hoover Institution, the Lone Star State gained 114 corporate headquarters from January 1, 2018 through June 30th, 2021, compared to 25 for runner-up Tennessee. What do those 2 states have in common? I'll leave that for your research. Researchers say motor companies are looking to escape Golden State's high taxes, restrictive regulatory policies, and rising overall costs, benefiting more business-friendly states such as Texas. So that may be great for the organizations, but does that mean their people will follow? I mean, that's a good question. So, I mean, even though these companies are relocating there, that could mean things macroeconomic or microeconomically for those areas as well, that, you know, real estate is likely going to go up in Tennessee and Texas because people from California are probably selling something that's a little more affordable. And as they relocate to Texas, they're maybe going to apply that to their new purchase of a home, and you'll see cost of homes in Tennessee and Texas go up. So it might be a good place to invest in real estate. At least if this continues, we'll see what happens with the California election here, which I think is happening sometime this month. So what else? Workers pay us no matter. I don't know what that is. No matter the okay. In the pre-pandemic era, the following was a given with little to no debate. Work outside a major metro area and your salary will be adjusted accordingly. Now, remote work largely rules the business world, and workers are increasingly demanding equal pay for equal output, no matter where they log in from. One economist tells the Wall Street Journal firms will eventually have to pay these workers the same or face losing them. Employee expectations have drastically changed and employers must adapt. This is where you are in the driver's seat as an employee. You need to negotiate your compensation. You also need to have your eyes, ears, and hands open to new opportunity. Because if it turns out that you're in a situation where they're going to force this on you, wouldn't you like to have a plan B, which may become your plan A if your plan B of staying there and taking the lower pay is something you enjoy. And so if you need motivation, imagine that your pay is going to be cut 20% because you left the geography, let's say the Bay Area for, I don't know, Bozeman, Montana. And Bozeman, Montana wages are not Bay Area wages. And it's logical that an employer might have a conversation with you about that. And when they do, you need to be prepared to talk about negotiating that compensation. In fact, before you head off to Bozeman, Montana, you may want to be clear with your employer that you expect the same wage, or you'll be, you don't want to put them over the gun, but at least you expect the same wage. And if they don't agree to that, at least in the short term, then you know that the writing is on the wall, that an adjustment may be coming. Now it's time for you to be proactive rather than reactive, and make sure you have a soft landing. Soft landings are always preferable. A hard cutoff or a burning a bridge is not preferable at all. Okay. And that, I expected that to come. I mean, here's the thing. As companies are doing this and having people work from home and not having them come into the office, why have an office? And then it's about, what value do I add? And okay, great. Now we can have an egalitarian discussion about, what is my value? And that's something a little more nuanced in its discussion, rather than just the geography I work in. Prominent nonprofit, America's Remote Work Havens. Yeah, let's look at that one. America's Remote Work Havens. While remote work is on the rise throughout the U.S., it's quickly becoming more popular in some cities than others. LinkedIn's latest workforce report reveals 20 cities where people are most likely to apply for remote work opportunities. Bend, Oregon ranks number 1. Why is that? If you haven't ever been to Bend, Oregon, you wouldn't understand. It's a beautiful city. There's lots to do in the outdoors. They have exceptionally good technology there. High-speed internet is not an issue. They have in Redmond an airport that flies all over the West Coast. So I could see that's one place. And then Cape Coral, Florida. Had a friend of mine just relocated to Cape Coral. So I can see why both of those are attractive. Bend may not be as affordable, I think, as Cape Coral. Some areas of Cape Coral I saw were, very affordable, even for new construction. Sunbelt cities show up across both lists, with 6 in Florida alone. New York City and San Francisco rank last among the analysis of larger metros. Well, these people have to come from somewhere, right? So they're coming from New York, San Francisco, and going to Bend, Oregon, Cape Coral, these other areas. Why? Because there's many direct flights from Redmond, Oregon, near Bend, to San Francisco. And my suspicion is there's likely a lot of direct flights from New York City to Cape Coral if that's required. So to me, that you have to look at these things as in a larger context, and know that people may temporarily have gone to those places, and you may not have known it as an employer. And so what do you do with that? I mean, how much latitude do you give your people? If they're generating results, what difference does it make where they're working? And if you have that flexibility, you should at least consider hybrid and make it, hey, you know what? We're going to do that for you. And we're actually going to fly you back to the home office, I don't know, 4 times a year, whatever that looks like, or once a month. Would you do it for once a month, right? So now I'm negotiating the things that work best for me and for the organization, because it's got to be a win-win. Got to be a win-win. Let's be real about making it. That's interesting. Let's be real about making it. When we hear the rare success stories of people who make it big, our initial reaction may be, they got so lucky, or that could never be me. But entrepreneur Patrick Bet Davis says, we don't see all the obstacles they had to overcome. So why don't successful people share their struggles? If they did, it would be a win-win. Nobody'd be interested. Nobody's interested in, there's a quote I shared that got a little bit of traction this week, and that, it's interesting how success comes dressed in work clothes. It doesn't come in, Ferraris and Lamborghinis and high-rise condos in New York, right? There's work that goes into this thing. So why don't successful people share their struggles? If they did, it would be a win-win. They would gain more support. Yep. I mean, all those are true. But the idea here is that, we're looking for something that's easy. And I don't know that it's ever easy. Let's be honest with ourselves that finding work, if I'm out of work, is hard work. Getting promoted when I'm working is hard work. Networking with people we have yet to meet, but probably should, is hard work. What's easy? Easy is, in fact, LinkedIn makes it super easy. They have easy apply on their job board. And it's almost, they're making it almost like a Candy Crush kind of thing. Is that all I have to do is hit easy apply, easy apply, easy apply. And all of a sudden I'm going to have all these opportunities flow my way. My profile is going to get added to somebody's shopping cart, and they're going to check out with a credit card. And then I get what the market delivers to me rather than advocating for what I desire or prefer in my career. So that's all I have to share today, folks. I didn't see many questions. We're trying a new thing. I will actually schedule the next career happy hour when we're done here, so that those who did attend can share it out or join and invite themselves. Because I think it's good that we have some kind of consistent place that we're meeting every week, so that people aren't confused, and it's easier to share it out through either private message or those sorts of things. And so I don't see any questions in here. And I think maybe we'll try again next week, just a little more intelligently. And I do wish you the best. Have a great weekend. Stay safe, everyone. Wash your hands, maintain the distancing, wear a mask if you feel it's going to give you some protection, and certainly take care of your body. It's the only one you got. All right. Bye now.